Welcome back to Tony Renee at Home. It's been a long week and we're just going to kind of be lazy today and take it easy and just enjoy each other's company. But we still have to eat and we don't want to go out to eat. So we decided this morning that we want some of our very, very favorite soup. And that is Italian tortellini soup. I've been making this for years, but I don't make it very often. So I still had to check my list of ingredients. I'm not going to give you exact measurements, but I'm going to tell you the ingredients that I use. I want you to learn that throwing a pot of soup together is so easy. You can make it your own. So I'm not going to give you exact measurements. I'm just going to tell you what I use. I'll tell you what I might use if I was just doing a single I'm going to double this recipe. If I were just doing a single recipe, I'll tell you what I might use. And everything that you need for this soup is right here. This is a dump everything in the pot after you brown the sausages, and it's done. So easy. And again, one of our favorites. But the first thing I need to do right now is get these in my cast iron skillet. I have getting hot on the stove behind me. I also have some of my Dutch oven bread rising behind me. We're going to have that to go with this. But let me get these in the skillet and I'll come back and we'll talk about the rest of the ingredients that go in this. Now those sausages don't necessarily need to cook all the way through, but because they're going to finish cooking in the soup. I forgot a cutting board. So the rest of the soup ingredients are carrots, bell peppers, zucchini. You can use yellow squash as well, beef base or beef broth. I use this because I don't have beef base or beef broth on hand. Onion, canned tomatoes, tomato sauce, garlic, salt, pepper, basil, and oregano are the only two other seasonings that you're going to use, and then some red wine. If you don't like to cook with wine, I guess you could leave this out, but you don't use very much, and of course the alcohol evaporates. This is just for flavor. Now this is a Merlot, and I don't cook with Merlot. I usually cook with Cabernet Sauvignon, but I don't have any. I totally forgot that I had used it all the last time I made this soup. So I'm just going to use the Merlot. That's what we're going to go with because that's what I have on hand. And the longest thing about this soup is the prepping of all the vegetables and browning. Oh, there it is. I lost my third carrot. And browning the meat. So now if I were only doing a single recipe, I would only use one package of sausage. But we like extra sausage in ours. To double it, of course, you would need 2 packages, but we like extra. So I'm using 3. I was going to use 2, just so you know, but Adam wanted extra. So I'm using 3 packages. You can use canned carrots. You can use, I was going to cheat with these carrots, and even though I had these in the refrigerator, I was going to cheat and get the bag of the crinkle cut carrots because they're already sliced. But they looked horrible. They were bad. They were literally bad. They were black and moldy looking and slimy looking. So I decided it doesn't take that much longer to peel these carrots. And so that's what I'm doing. I don't peel my zucchini. I think it was this one. See, that one has some bad spots on it. I'll peel those off, but I don't peel the whole zucchini. I leave the skin on. You can use, like I said, you can use beef stock, beef base, beef broth, just your beef flavoring. It's going to take a while for those sausages to brown because I put all of those in that cast iron skillet, and that's a huge cast iron skillet. But when you pile your meat in a skillet like that, or together, even on a grill or whatever, it really just steams it. But I want it done, I want this going, I want to sit and relax. Okay, I'll give those a rinse. These I've already got washed. And these peppers, I'm just gonna rough chop everything. Everything. Now the zucchini will go in towards the end. You don't put it in right away. You don't want to cook it to death. And I like it to be a little crisp tender. So I'm going to finish with my peppers and zucchini and get all my veggie prep done. I'm going to go ahead and start adding stuff to my pot so I can get it out of my way. I do cut my carrots somewhat thin because they are going to be what takes the longest to cook once you get it going in the pot. So I'm cutting them slicing them pretty thin. Just a normal carrot slice. If I were making one recipe, I do the biggest can of tomatoes that I could find, just chopped tomatoes, diced tomatoes, and one of those little cans of, I think they're 8 ounces of tomato sauce. If I were only making one recipe, I would probably use 6 to 8 cups of water. We like extra broth in our soup, so I always use extra water. So we have the broth. And this is my favorite thing to use. This is the Better Than Bouillon roasted beef base. And I just make a mess when I get it out of the jar. Just like that. You can't not make a mess, or at least I can't. And I don't ever measure this. And just add it. There are directions on here, I think. 1 teaspoon equals 1 bouillon cube. There you go. You're supposed to add it to boiling water. Oops. And then when I taste it, and that's how you know if you have a good soup, you taste it to see if you need to add something. And that's how you learn to cook. You just add stuff and taste it and see if you need to add something. I'm going to get my onions done. Save these onion tops and bottoms and put them in a bag in the freezer for when I make homemade broth. But I've got 2 bags going right now, so I'm good to not do it every time. I'll put the ingredients below in the description and what I would use if I was only doing one recipe. And then you can just double or triple or whatever from there. You want to learn to be a great cook. Stop following a recipe exactly the way that it's written and try your own thing. So as the sausages brown, I am just going to get them sliced and put in my pot with the rest of my ingredients. I've still got some in the skillet because, well, like I said, I put them all in there. These are juicy, juicy, perfect. Now, when the sausages are done, you're going to put your onion in your skillet and some garlic and brown that up for a few minutes. And then you'll add that to your pot too. I'm gonna add my zucchini then, and my wine and my spices, oregano and basil. And we just wait for it to be done for a few minutes, and then we add our tortellini, of course, being Italian tortellini soup. It has tortellini in it. It is in the freezer, and I'm keeping it frozen until time to add it. And I only do that about the last 10 minutes or so. And then when you serve this up, you top it with Parmesan cheese. It's going to be so good. It's been a while since we've had this, and we've been talking about it for a long time. I'm so excited to be having this today, and I'm making this much because we'll have leftovers when we get home from church. These onions and this garlic smell so good. And this skillet is way too heavy for me to lift, so I'm just having to spoon it out. But this is going in. And you do not drain the fat from the pan after you brown those sausages. And you just brown up your garlic and onion and then add them to your soup pot. All right. There's the last of the zucchini. I just cut it in half and then slice it. They were pretty small. And there's the last of the sausages. And now you just let that cook. I'm gonna add some, I'm gonna add some basil. You can use fresh if you want. Gonna add some oregano. And red wine. If you're only doing one recipe of this, I would add 1/4 to 1/2 cup. Again, I'll have that down in the description. And I think I'm going to add some more water because by the time I add that tortellini, that's going to soak up some of this broth. And like I said, we like extra. So I'm going to add some more. I want to take some of this to my daughter and son-in-law tomorrow too. I want them to try it. I don't think Kristen has ever had it. Okay. Gonna add some more water. We're just gonna let this cook for about 30 minutes. I have had this going already to give those carrots a head start. The bread is done. That's what that timer was. The bread is done. I'm gonna take that out and let it sit on a board and kind of cool before I slice that up, and dinner will be ready. So I'll see you then. Just to let you know, I have not added salt and pepper yet because I wanted to taste this before I added those things. There's so many things in there that have the spices in it. Broth and that base can be kind of salty. The sausages are kind of peppery because they're Italian. They already have sauces in them. So I will taste that broth and see what that tastes like before I add the salt and pepper. I may not even add it at all. Okay, I'm going to try to add some zucchini to this. This is really, really full. I am just using the Great Value cheese tortellini. Oops. Still a couple left in there. All right. I have a third bag. Man, I tell you what, I may not have to cook Monday either. I have no problem eating this. The thing about soups is, the longer they sit, the better they taste. And this is no exception. This is so awesome. This looks amazing. Oh my gosh. The bread is done. So as soon as this tortellini cooks up a little bit, dinner's ready. Okay, we're gonna do a taste test. I already tasted the broth. Didn't add the salt or pepper because I thought it tasted fine. This soup is so good. You have to try this recipe. There is no way, unless you have a really big mouth, that you can get everything in one spoonful for your mouth. The carrot, the zucchini, the tomatoes, the tortellini, the sausage. Oh my gosh. This is heaven. What a beautiful day. Anytime we have the soup, it's still pretty hot. That was really hot. So the bread turned out really, really well. It's really soft. I already had a bite, but you have to try this. And I already have a video out on how to make this bread. It is in my old-fashioned potato noodle soup recipe. So go watch that if you want to know how to make this bread. Super easy Dutch oven bread. Everything goes in one bowl, then goes in the oven to rise for a couple of hours. Fix it in your Dutch oven. It's done. You have a nice artisan bread. Beautiful, easy, so good. And that's it for this video. Thank you for being here. Be sure and subscribe if you want more. Give this one a like. Let me know. You're gonna try this. It's really, really good. It is our favorite, I promise. And I will see you in the next one. God bless.